A popular philanthropist on TikTok by the name of Dora Mono has died, and everyone is asking questions. Some people are already speculating witchcraft. The 33-year-old Zambian educator with over 4 million followers on TikTok was said to have lost her life at an undisclosed hospital in Zambia on the 25th of December 2024 on Christmas Day. After it was said she rushed herself to the hospital, most likely the day before, because she was experiencing some unusual medical episodes that causes her to suffer blackouts from time to time. She didn't understand what was going on, it was new, it was strange, and because of that, she took herself to the hospital. Unfortunately for her, she did not come out of that hospital alive. It's important to know that as at the time of making this video, her exact cause of death has not been revealed. However, her fans, people who know her and love her, are already speculating a possible cause of death, many of whom are suspecting is witchcraft and quote-unquote the village people. A little backstory on Dora. She's said to be a humanitarian and a child activist who seemed to rescue children from harsh conditions in rural areas in Zambia. She's said to be a foster mother of over 200 children and has raised over $20 million to provide for nearly 500 children for their education, for their well-being, even for the entire village where she hosts and care for these children. Her humanitarian activities has caught the eye of popular YouTuber Mr. Beast, whose philanthropy foundation donated millions of dollars to her cause and even providing an entire village with electricity, constant electricity. Dora is a big shot. She's like the Mother Teresa of Zambia, and at such a young age, she seemed to have accomplished so much and touched the lives of many. And her journey in her philanthropy's activities is very transparent. You can go to her TikTok and see how she shares her journey with her fans and her 4 million followers all across the world. And although not much is known about her personal life, it is not stated if she is ever married or if she had any biological kids of her own. Sources did say her mother is South African and her dad is Zambian. And before sticking in Zambia, she had done some other humanitarian work in other countries, India included. Unfortunately, a bright light has been switched off, and it's total darkness in the hearts of those who loved her, which is where many of the speculations surrounding her death is stemming from. Some medical experts online have speculated that her death may have been as a result of an injury she sustained on her leg early in December of 2024, an injury that caused her to have the leg bandaged. Some people are saying it may have been blood clot. Some people are saying it may have been sepsis. Some people are just saying that whatever may have happened to her could have been related to that injury, since she is very young, very vibrant, and very active. And aside that injury, she doesn't seem to, or it is not said she had any underlying health issues. Even though it's not clear how she got the injury, she may have fallen, she works in a rural area, in a village. It could be one of those things that happen while she's just in active service. People injure all the time at home, even in rich man's home with mansions and skyscrapers. Injuries at home can still cause such a damage to confine one to use a clutch. But many other people are saying it can't be, that if she had that injury, it looked like she was getting treatment for it. So whatever could have, led to her death may not have been from the injury, because they believe she was getting serious medical attention for that injury. And these people saying this are also the ones claiming that it is possible that her death is as a result of witchcraft. Some will say it's voodoo, some said it's witchcraft and jealousy. This one up here said witchcraft has advanced, they can bewitch you using high blood pressure, decongested heart failure, they are bad people. And one here is saying she has a broken leg, she probably got a blood clot and sepsis. But my concern was, why would anyone want to use witchcraft against her? She is literally doing the Lord's job. She is providing for these said village people's children. She is bringing electricity to the village. So why would the quote-unquote village people want to kill her with voodoo? It also turns out that as a humanitarian and a child activist, she could have stepped on a lot of people's toes, because she is as cute and pretty as she is not one to play with a child. Part of her humanitarian journey includes rescuing children from toxic environments. In her videos, you would see one of the videos where she talks about seeing a little girl walking funny, and that little girl stays with her uncle, and because of that, we're assuming now that she has to rescue that girl. She has also saved many children from child marriages. And you know, these child marriages, the children have been married to older, powerful men. And I feel like for the kind of work she does, saving children and fighting for people who can't fight for themselves, there is always going to be a group of people who will not like her. There will always be a group of elders, men, who would be threatened by her. Because if she just hears that a child is in a situation, that child will be saved and that person will be locked up. So she's a threat. And that can help you, or that can help us see a perspective for those who claim or believe is witchcraft or voodoo. That could be where they are coming from. Because she does step on a lot of people's toes. The big men in the village, the babalawos in the village who think they can pick up children and use for rituals, she will stand up and fight. And in as much as she has won the hearts of people, these men would see her as a threat and they would target her. I'm sure if a man knows that she's probably going to come and rescue the child, they'll most likely want to silence her first. So that is the angle these people are coming from. They are coming from the angle of she has created enemies because of the children she has rescued from pedophiles, child marriages, maltreatments, and the people she's rescuing them from would clearly see her as an enemy, especially if she's locking them up in prison by the end of the day, which I think she is. In as much as she's saving children's life, she's locking up some adults who are committing crimes against these children. So that's the thing that comes with this kind of job. You gotta step on a lot of people's toes, as she at a young age may have. And if people want to get her with voodoo and witchcraft, for those who believe in it, they most likely will, because she did mention in her WhatsApp status before her death that she was experiencing the blackout. She could not understand it. And if you look at it, she drove herself to the hospital, which indicates that even with her broken legs, she was still able to take herself to the hospital, which means the legs were probably healing, which means she was healthy enough to drive herself. If she was in critical condition, I think someone else would have driven her. She wouldn't have been able to drive a vehicle. So how does she look healthy one day and drive herself to the hospital, and a few hours later, she's dead? People will ask questions. According to her sister, who announced on her TikTok page about her passing, her burial has been set for the 28th of December. So this is pretty much like 3 days after. I got to learn and read somewhere that in some cultures in Zambia, when someone passes, they are to be buried in 3 days. So whatever autopsy that needs to be done before the 3rd day. So by the 3rd day, she will be buried, and she will be buried in her school compound there as a monument to mark her good works. Many years from now, she's going to be taught in history. She's going to be one of those figures that people would remember. The children whose lives she has touched, who she has rescued, whom she has fed and cared for, will always remember her. They will grow up to be men. They will grow up to be women. They will grow up to have their own kids. And over time, she will continue being talked about, especially if that school remains over time. You know, if that school remains, is built, and younger generations come to grow up and go to that school and they see the grave sites, they will always want to learn about the woman buried there, and it will be one of those fascinating stories that would continue on for generations. That is what happens when you care for over 500 children. Kind of going to be hard for her to be forgotten. Like I said, the story might develop as to our actual medical cause of death, because we already know that the spiritual cause of death, according to people who believe in it, is witchcraft. But at the end of the day, that may not hold up in court. So we will just have to wait and see what our cause of death really is. It could actually be as a result of our injuries, but at the same time, we still need to know. Most times, causes of death are undetermined and they don't know. And maybe if the coroner report comes out as inconclusive, I guess we'll start considering the possibility of the village people. Because you can't save and rescue over 500 children and not make an enemy. Somebody clearly may not have liked her, but that's not important because over 4 million people did love her and love her work. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and stay on this page. Should there be any update on this story, I'll be happy to update you guys.